When it comes to ETH, you have to look at ETH BTC, because fundamentally this is what's really moving the price for ETH. Yeah. And what I'm seeing on the yearly time frame is bullishness, and so just bear that in mind. The bullishness that I'm seeing, and I've explained this in the past, is very easy to see. So I'm looking at the candles now, just the candles, and there's a little bit of a pattern forming. If you can see the pattern, it's not hard to see. You have 2 green candles, 2 red candles, 2 green candles, 2 red candles. So I'm almost expecting now 2 green candles. So that's my first observation about the yearly time frame on ETH BTC, right? Observation number 1. And these are just observations. Observation number 2 is you have this higher time frame yearly level. Do you see how this candle closed and opened, and you formed this square where it went down? So you had this kind of yearly reversal. As these 2 candles formed, the chart created a liquidity level, which we mark as the yearly level, like that. And we have one lower down here. So as it did exactly the same thing, but on the underside here. See that? So now we have, in this price action, we have 2 yearly levels. Now what happened was, in this expansive year, which was the previous bull market, the price easily traded through that level. And in the 2 subsequent years that followed, this bearish one, 22, and the last year, 23, we had a back test. And so this candle is a profit take candle, and this candle is the test. This one here is the test. And as you can see, we've succeeded. The test has succeeded 2 years in a row. That's for me, that's validation for acceptance above this significant yearly level. So I see this as a bullish hold of a back test of an SR flip on a higher time frame. These are yearly candles. Yeah. So that's already set me up as a bullish. Like, I'm seeing this as bullish. I think the other observations are, you have a decreasing volume on the pullback, which is also bullish. And also recently, in the last month, basically, we had a swing failure of the lows of these 2 previous years. You see how the price of this current year, it went down, and now we're trading above the level, and we're back above the yearly level too. Yeah. So there's a lot of bullish things happening with ETH BTC, and this is naturally going to reflect into ETH, right? So just bear this in mind, that actually what I'm seeing on ETH BTC is a bullish hold on this higher time frame level that I have marked here. And we have a swing failure of the lows, which is kind of what you want to see. You want to see the price go down and come back up and not continue. You don't want to see a massive liquidation event and the price to drop. And what we're seeing is that the liquidation didn't happen and the price came back up. So that's quite a strong bullish indicator. And we're getting this red doji was last month, and that's quite bullish to be in the lows. A red doji in the lows, taking the liquidity, it's quite bullish. It's like a bullish reversal doji. And now we're trying to escape from the lows. And the first confirmation for most people, if they're looking at the price action on the monthly time scale, in terms of the way the candles are forming, would be to have a really nice close above this this red candle here where it opened. So for me, that's an important level. And what you actually want is, you want a monthly close above that level. And effectively what you have done now is you've reversed this red candle and all of the subsequent candles that followed. You've reversed all of that price action and the volume that's attributed to that price action. Okay, once you get a close up there, you've basically got the first indication of a bullish reversal pattern. And if you combine that with the swing failure of the lows and some sort of bottoming pattern, like a double bottom, you know, then you have something, you have a really nice bullish configuration here at the lows of this whole range. This whole thing is a range. And then another indication for bullishness will be to get back into the value area, the volume. You do a fixed range volume pull using this tool from the candle that entered the volume range to current price action. You will see that there's a value area low here, which is clearly acting as some kind of support and now resistance. And so once the price can get back into that value area, and in my mind I want to see a nice close above this candle, then you can have a little back test and we can start making our way back up to the top of the range. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think once we get back into the value area, you're going to start seeing a lot more volume come into ETH from BTC. There is a big resistance in the way. You just need to be aware of that. And naturally, these resistance levels have to be dealt with. You can't just ignore them. So this point of control, which is the most volume on this range, is at this price, which is 0.06791 roughly. It's a bit of an area. That's going to be resistance. So even if we do manage to get up and come back down and then kind of go up, you're into resistance again. So just bear that in mind. And so you might still get some kind of pullback before we start making our way up. Okay. And a lot of this is going to coincide with Bitcoin, but most of the ETH's value right now is going to come from Bitcoin. When that's what you want. You want ETH to run, you need the volume to come from Bitcoin. So it's all about ETH BTC actually. It's all about ETH BTC, and then Bitcoin dominance is the confirmation. So you want Bitcoin dominance to start going down, and then ETH can run, and it can run really hard because you have a lot of market volume coming in from Bitcoin. And that what happens is a lot of the big players will trade between Bitcoin and ETH. They'll just swap between the two because they're either trying to increase their ETH or they're trying to increase their Bitcoin. And so what people do for the duration of the bull market is they'll pick one of those two tokens as their bank, as their main token, and they'll try and grow that portfolio by trading between ETH and BTC unleveraged, just straight swap. And so I think once we can get back into this volume area, back test it, point of control, get back above it, get back above the value area, then we're going to start looking really bullish because we've basically cleared the whole of this volume area. But until we do, we're still trapped. So we don't just expect the price to do that. The price needs to go up and clear. There's a lot of liquidity level, a volume put in this higher range. And so it may be that what happens is if the price does manage to get up and reject, which you would expect that. You wouldn't just assume that the price is going to walk through it, especially because I just did a volume pull now and I can see that the golden pocket is sitting slightly above the point of control. So there is really I would say there's actually quite strong resistance here to go back into BTC. But as long as you're holding the low of the volume area now, once you're in it, once you're in the volume area, as long as you don't lose it, then you can start getting bullish. And then what might need to happen is one of two things. You either need to put more volume here to move the point of control lower down, so the high volume node moves down, or you just quite simply need to flip that area into support. You flip that area into support, you can start making your way up. And eventually what's going to happen with ETH BTC, if everything continues to be bullish, is once you get back above this volume area somehow, you'll see that there isn't really much volume here. So effectively, you could potentially start making your way up, and then you're not into price discovery, because price discovery is taking this high here, but there isn't really much volume in those higher regions. Let me just have a look at this volume here. Yeah, there was some volume here before in this range, but in the previous bull market, all of that volume was cleared. Yeah, most of the volume that was trapped here was cleared. And so now the volume in this previous bull market is significantly more than the previous bull market. So you can pretty much ignore this previous price action here. And the only thing to bear in mind is there is an all-time high, and the all-time high is there. And so even if we do get up there, there is very likely that there'll be a big profit take into the all-time high. Yeah. So potentially, if ETH does rally, even from where we are now all the way to the all-time high, that's a 1.5x on Bitcoin. That's not bad. It's not terrible for ETH to do a 1.5x on Bitcoin. Let me have a look from down here. Yeah, all the way up to here. From down here was a 1.5x in the previous bull market. So I don't know if it would be terrible to do a 1.5x up to there. And if we are doing some kind of one-to-one, if this is the low here, and you are doing some kind of one-to-one from this pivot low down here to this high here to down to this low here. Actually, a one-to-one is a little bit higher. So a one-to-one is actually making a new all-time high and going up to there. And that would be, from our current price action, it's like a 3.5x just to do a one-to-one from this move to here to up there. I think that would be very acceptable for most people when it comes to ETH to get a one-to-one. I think that would be quite good. So I'm feeling very bullish on ETH, actually. I'm not like bearish at all. And when you actually do have a look at the higher time frame chart on ETH, I've got this nice channel, which is a really higher time frame channel that I think is okay. You can see the highs reacting off the highs, the midpoint is reacting here and here, and also the lows here and here and here, and it kind of almost front run there. And so I like this channel, and based on this channel, and based also on this just a simple fib expansion, just from this pivot high, which is the all-time high, down to the bear market low, just some normal easy fib targets. I've got $7,000 here, nearly $10,000, and then if it's overextended, $14,000. And obviously there's going to be big resistance at the all-time high. So from where we are now, depending on when we get there, I don't know when it's going to happen. You're going to get big resistance at the all-time high. If you do get above the all-time high somehow, then you're into price discovery. And price discovery is really where the price can move quite fast, and you'll then get a lot of people pouring volume into ETH. Price discovery is where people get excited, and they get excited because there's really little resistance in price discovery, so the price can move and slip up very quickly. And that's when you can, that's also when retail like start to FOMO into price discovery, and then you start getting some really high prices very quickly. You just have to be aware that you have to take your profits. You You can't just be oblivious to price discovery thinking that this is it and ETH is going to go to the moon. It will go to the moon potentially, but then it has to come back. It has to come back because it just does. All right, I hope that helps a little bit. On the local time frame, it's just bullish. Look, I think with ETH in the current price move, in the price action, we've taken this high. As long as the price doesn't come back underneath it, we're good. We're good for continuation. Yeah. So just when you make these pivot highs and you break them, you just don't want the price to come back underneath them. You just want them to hold. Yeah. If you do get a situation where the price comes back underneath a previous pivot high, like here, you see what happened? It came up to form resistance. So you don't want the price to go up above a previous high and then for the price to come back down underneath it, because then you could form exactly the same thing, some kind of resistance. All right. Sushant Kumar is saying, I have a question. If someone sells 10,000 BTC